Welcome. Scott here. Today I am bringing you another video on Black Clover Mobile. This video will cover a quick overview of the ongoing Plaitchidna Raid along with my run for part 6. The mechanics are the same as the previous season. Before I continue with the mechanics overview, here is a summary of the featured rewards. The raid event lasts for 7 days. The key prize of the raid shop is the SSR skill enhancement page. To get skill page enhancement materials and the wool shards, you need to be able to clear stage 3 with all boss buff modifiers activated for 5 days. To get the enchantment stones chests, you probably need to clear at least stage 4 with all boss buffs modifiers. Other than the coveted SSR skill enhancement material, you can also find wool shards material in the shop, that allows you to upgrade your unit's skills levels. By the way, the wool shards will be available on sale from all regional world shop when we reaches the start of the next month. You can also get enchantment stones. If you have the capabilities to get them, I would suggest you to save them to help out for the upcoming squad war event, since enchantment helps to gain lots of points. Of course, make sure you have reroll the optimal substats before you start using them for enchantment. Other than the 3 main rewards, you should target daily stamina of 80 at the cost of 6 raid coins limited to 3 per day. The table on the left shows the recommended battle power requirements you should target before you try to attempt to clear the raid. Before I continue with the boss mechanics overview, let me give a quick overview on how the raid works. You need to deploy 8 units for the raid. You need to clear the lower raid stages before you can reach the next higher level stages. I will be doing more runs if time permits. To tackle part 5 and 6, you need to have heavy investment in gear transcendence and enchantment with good substats. The featured new story mages, Fate of Thread Vanessa and Zara, are good for tackling this event. In short, try to do your best attempt. If you are struggling to do this raid at this moment, it is probably best to plan your future pulls plan so you can get the required units to achieve the clear. Now let's cover the mechanics of the raid boss. For the first phase, you will be fight the red debuffer Plaitchidna. The theme of this season raid is that the Plaitchidna has various immunity and removal skills. Try setting up your mages strategically according to your situation. For those who have fought the Plaitchidna in the previous season, there are some minor tweaks to the boss mechanics. The Plaitchidna can changes its type whenever it received damage from your party. The attribute changes from red power to blue technique to green sense and back to red power once you complete the cycle. Please do take note that combined attack count as 2 attacks. The first skill is Fierce Attack, which allows the boss to inflict 50% reduced defense debuff on a sense or green attribute type mage. The second skill is 3 Faces of Adversity, which is an AoE attack and inflicts 2 instances of continuous burn damage for 3 turns. The third skill is Poisonous Spray, which is another AoE attack. If the boss is in power or red attribute state, it will grant itself a barrier that equates to 25% of its max HP. Its special 3 Immugis Rage is an AoE HP attack. If the boss is in power attribute state, it will attacks after granting a 100% increased damage dealt buff upon using the attack. The boss have the following innate passives. Similar to all major bosses, it has immunity to status ailments. This current variant of Plaitchidna has immunity against reduced mobility, mobility depletion along with reduced speed debuffs. In short, you cannot cheese the fight with the infamous mobility drain team. The boss will grant itself Berserk once the battle has taken 40 turns. Berserk will result the boss raises its all attack stats and accuracy by 300%. You cannot block or dispel the buff. When Berserk is present, the boss attacks will gain 100% increased defense penetration. The boss will also remove any active immortality, barrier, or invulnerability buff before it attacks. In short, if you let the boss activate Berserk and give it a turn, it is a game over. The boss will get inflicted with 35% increased damage taken upon being attacked by an enemy at an attribute advantage. Please do take note that if you are able to target attribute weakness, your damage on the following turn will be greatly enhanced. The boss will grant itself a 90% reduced damage taken buff upon being attacked by an enemy of the same attribute or an enemy at an attribute disadvantage. This will negate the next attack output. Now let's cover phase 2. For the second phase, you will be fighting a green attacker Plaitchidna. Plaitchidna goes into a casting state for a fixed number of turns and then attacks with a powerful skill. Try to upgrade your allies to increase defense, reduce damage taken, etc. to defeat it. Similar to phase 1, the Plaitchidna can changes its type whenever it received damage from your party. The attribute changes from red power to blue technique to green sense and back to red power once you complete the cycle. Similar to all major bosses, it has immunity to status ailments, silence, and total silence mechanics. The first skill is Red Rain, which is an AoE attack. If it is attacking a technique or blue mage, it will inflict a 50% reduced defense debuff on the target. The second skill is non-attacking ability Body Enhancement, which will result the boss grant itself an increased speed level 3 buff for 3 turns. The third skill is Catastrophe, which is an AoE HP which causes the boss to grant itself an increased all attack level 1 buff after it initiates the attack. Its special 3 Immugis Judgment is an AoE HP attack. If the boss is in power attribute state, it will attack after granting itself an increased 100% damage buff. The boss enter into a charging phase on its second turn. The charging phase will last for 3 boss turns. Save your barrier and damage mitigation buffs on second or last turn of the charging phase so you can time the buffs correctly to tank its attacks. Similar to phase 1, the boss have the same set of innate passives. With the basic boss mechanics covered, let's proceed to discuss on the boss buffs. For this raid, we will be introduced to the concept of boss buffs effect. As the name implies, the boss buff will give the boss skills more effects which will make the fight difficulty a lot harder. You can select boss buffs at the battle preparation screen and receive additional rewards based on the number of selected buffs. Available boss buffs change randomly every day. One day boss buff effects apply to phase 1 while another day could be applied to phase 2. The table on the left shows the number of raid coins for each part and the number of conditions you have activated. If you activated 0 to 2 boss buffs, there won't be any raid coin bonus. The bonus will starts from 3 boss buffs onwards. The rewards of the coins will also accumulate. For example, if you clear part 3 raid with 4 boss buff conditions, you will get between 15 to 17 raid coins for the usual clear along with 42 raid coins for boss buffs activation. The 42 bonus coins consist of 9 raid coins for 3 boss buff conditions, 10 raid coins for 4 boss buff conditions, 11 raid coins for 5 boss buff conditions and 12 raid coins for 6 boss buff conditions. Clearing part 2 fight with all 6 conditions will give you 26 bonus raid coins. Clearing part 3 fight with all 6 conditions will give you 42 bonus raid coins. Clearing part 4 fight with all 6 conditions will give you 58 bonus raid coins. The table on the right shows the boss buff effect. The boss buff effect will apply to the boss specific skill. The boss buff application seems to affect either only on phase 1 or phase 2. As we are in the early days of the raid, we might have a mix of the conditions or the game will just alternate the buffs per phase. So how should I do my grinding for the raid coins? In my opinion, I suggest you to do the highest possible raid part where you can activate the most buffs. Due to the bonus raid coins multiplier, clearing higher raid stages won't necessarily translate to more raid coins drop. To get the versatile mage piece only, you need to have a roster that allows you clear part 2 with 6 boss buff activation. By hook or by crook, make sure you get that key SSR skill page enhancement material minimally. It is one of the game's rarest material items. The item allows you enhance your mage's skill page. If you noticed for this season, I will include screenshots of the boss buffs activated before I commence with the run. In Black Clover Mobile, different servers have different time zone, thus resulting certain server players getting a head start to fight the event. On this screen, I have done the screenshot for both days. The one on the left is the boss buffs that is activated yesterday when I did my runs for part 1 to part 3. The one on the right is the boss buffs that is activated today when I do the runs for part 4 and part 5. In general, the phase with the boss buff activated will be the harder phase. Thus, put your stronger party to tackle that phase of the fight. Don't be surprised why the day before you can clear with this team comp but you are struggling to clear the fight with the same team comp today. With the key concepts explained, let's proceed with the run showcase.
Yep.